with a Ferrari car?
No, but I mean, Ferrari also came out with a statement, to say that Hamilton haven't commented deeply about that crashing, but I think it's not a good sign at all. But like I said, it's more like getting to see no more the testing and all that, and I just feel that by the time, by the time he's done with all the pre-testing preparation, we'll get to see how far he goes. But then I don't want to judge him with that crashing of that car that day. But it does tell us what we expect to see this season. And if you are crashing at this point, then you need to be careful, because a lot of competition, when the competition gets on the way proper, a lot of tension, pressure will just come in naturally, and then we'll see how far it goes. But for Lewis Hamilton, he's a fine driver, he's experienced. Maybe his experience will just count for him, but then I don't want to judge him because he crashed in pre-testing.
Well, Lewis Hamilton crashed in pre-testing, of course, way back. I think that was just about in Spain a few weeks ago, and we hope that he will now be getting set for the Australian Grand Prix that gets underway in the second week, 13th of March this year, and promises to be thrilling because we've seen this 7-time champion. No other driver right now has won the Formula One championship as many as 7 times, but he's looking at taking it a step higher. Can he do it one more time? He couldn't do it at all last year with Mercedes, so a lot of people think that he can break the duck now with a Ferrari that has just a better car. Due to the fact that the engines used by Mercedes as compared to that of Ferrari is better.
I think it's better. Ferrari do have a very strong engine. I mean, we saw the work on the aerodynamics. We saw what they did. We saw the changes in the team too, and Horner, the man who was at the helm of affairs, will always tell you that a lot is at stake. And there is a man who is very inquisitive. When I look at him, I remember a certain Danny Lewis, of Tottenham Hotspur, and how he is very anxious about profit and winning. So just maybe the environment, team environment, if you get used to the engineers in the boardroom who are in charge of the machine, the engine, and if the engine can do very well. Also, what they did, I mean, they battled so hard for the constructors championship last season, and we saw how they were eager to also write their name, on gold. And if not for the likes of how good a certain Max Verstappen was, and then the McLaren guys came into the party. Just maybe. So for Charles Leclerc, with his little experience garnered with coupled with or combined with that of Lewis Hamilton, just maybe we'll get to see. But in terms of engine, as compared to last season, I think they had a better engine, or they have a better engine compared to Mercedes. But Mercedes, you can really never tell, because they too are not also slacking back.
We'll keep our fingers crossed. On the 19th of this month, yes, just a couple of days away from now, we'll see the launch of a new Ferrari car, the car that will be used for the 2025 Formula One season, and we'll see all of its characteristics and where Lewis Hamilton will take advantage of, and see whether he can get at World Championship number 8. And like I mentioned to you, no other driver on the circuit right now has that number of championship title. Let's take a break. When we return from the break, we'll get to football and talk about football. There's some action coming around female football, and beyond that, in basketball, River Hoopers lost in the final of an event a few hours ago, and we'll go to European football as well. Quite a lot is expected from the league fixtures and transfer. Do you have any big name? Well, we'll keep our fingers crossed. When we return from a break, we'll let you know. Transfer season completely ended across Europe. Stay with us.
From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all the sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics,
nobody's ambition is what they want.
I have fought very firmly.
natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
Welcome back. It's Sports Talk here on Atlantic Television Network, and we brought you the latest happening around the world of sports. Now, let's just quickly get to basketball. And talking about basketball reminds me that the NBA action is still continuing. And interestingly, in the early hours of this morning, we saw LA Lakers, show that yes, they are the king of Los Angeles. They beat the Clippers from same Los Angeles by 97 to 122 points. Echo, it's confirmed the Lakers are the host, or do I say the landlords of Los Angeles?
Yeah, they are. I mean, but you understand that they've not been very fantastic. A lot has been happening in that side recently, and so you expect that when things like this happen, they have to just be at their best. But I wish them all the best. I hope that they can continue to be very inconsistent. When you talk about Lakers, it reminds me of the GSW2. But let's see how far with a lot happening in the club. I mean, they're even more motivated even.
Just 2-point victory between Brooklyn Nets and Houston Rockets. Brooklyn Nets played at home, had a 99 points as compared to 97 scored by Houston Rockets. That was such a close fight, close match. Yet, no one could make the 100 points mark in basketball.
It's it can be very, very boring, and I mean sometimes when you watch a game that you don't get to see those point margin, especially when a game is not up to, it's not more than 100 points. It tells you how intense it can be sometimes. But then it's good that we saw the way the game panned out. I just hope that for Houston, they themselves has also had not a very rosy time when you look at their point margin and the number of wins they've averaged so far this season.
Philadelphia 76ers against Dallas Mavericks, it was 117 to 116. 2 points, just a point gap between the two of them. Very competitive, I must tell you. A game that went over 100 points, yet separated by just one.
For Philadelphia 76ers, I mean, it's more painful when you lose a game by 1 point because you ask yourself, what did you do wrong? Maybe you should have done something.
118 to 116 points, 2 points gap.
2 points gap difference. So you ask yourself, okay, maybe if I had done this, if I had, if we've been very offensive, maybe we wouldn't have considered that. But then it's a game of basketball, so sometimes this just happen. But it's easier when you get into the point and then you get to lose with those points. But that's the game of basketball. Sometimes the magic does happen at the tail of it all.
Cleveland Cavaliers were better as well over their counterparts from Boston Celtics. They beat the Celtics by 105 points, 119 points compared to 112 scored by Celtic. Let's quickly now stay away from basketball and go to football. And football, first start will be in female football. The Nigerian Women Premier League football league is heading up. We are into match day 4 now for the season. And we understand sort of interesting features are coming up later today. Maybe we understand 5 teams as well, April, have not lost so far in the season, but that record could be broken later today because they are up against very tough opponents. In Group A, we have Danas Ladies up against Edo Queens, one of the teams that have not lost a game. Do you see any upset coming from that encounter?
I think in terms of upset coming from Encounter,
because when the Dazzle girls beat the Queens from Edo Queens, then that could be a major upset.
Big upset, but I think that they have a way. It's difficult. Edo Queens, they are not also an easy team to go by. You know, there is this rivalry, not just within the circle of the groups, okay, but the fact they want to show who is the best team in the league, and the Edo Queens themselves are not slacking at all. We saw what they did at the Summer Boom last week. So I expect that it to be like I said, to be a big upset if they lose the game. Doesn't matter where that game is played.
If you're full of female football and you're in Lafayette, go to the stadium because Nasarawa Amazons are up against Equity Queens, and that is a promising fixture. I must tell you, Abia Angels in Umuahia is waiting for Conference Queens as well. Remo Stars Ladies are up against Hadland Queens, and that fixture will take place at Ikene. But if you are anywhere around Asaba, Delta Queens up against Rivers Angels, a must-watch in female football in Nigeria.
This is the match of the day, and a lot of people want to see how far. For Blankson, you know that this is where he came from.
Yeah, he was former coach of Delta Queens.
Yeah, and the six of the players will be playing today, so it's more like Delta playing against Delta. So we'll see how far it goes. But like I tell you, Blankson will not want to go there, and we'll say the list that they should come out with should be a draw. But it won't be as easy as we are predicting it because Delta will also want to take advantage of their home ground to inflict some pain. But Rivers Angels have been, formidable. Haven't lost any game. 7 points, Group B, topping the. We saw what they did against the FC Robo Queens, in Port Harcourt. So maybe we'll keep our finger crossed and see how far. But I tell you, it's going to be an intriguing encounter today in Delta.
Talking about home ground fixture at the Gossip Aquabo Stadium later today, Ibom Angels are up against Benue Queens. Robocops are up against Niger Hotels from Lagos. Then, if you are anywhere around in the Gua, Bayelsa Queens is at the Samson Siasia Stadium against Adamawa Queens, and it promises to be very, very thrilling. Bayelsa Queens, one of the big names in female football here in Nigeria, in Africa as well. They've been at the women
came third.
Yeah, came third as well. So it promises to be very, very thrilling in that encounter. Away from female football now, still looking at football stories for you this hour. We understand the draws for the President Federations Cup will take place in Port Harcourt tomorrow. Teams that will take place will be up for a draw for this year's Federations Cup. How interesting can this be? Anxiety, a lot of teams are looking for some kind of favorable pairing, but this will be revealed tomorrow. What do you make of it?
Let's see how far it goes. But that excitement is always there when it comes to the FA Cup in Rivers State because it's like one way traffic. But for the teams that are in the grassroots, maybe it gives them an ample opportunity, or the non-league side, see how far they can also put themselves. And we saw how one of those teams, the non-league side, emerged, last season and with Rivers United, and even if at some point they were looking for money to compete at that level. But it's lovely because you get to see fresh talent, young talent. So let's see how far the draws brings. And with the way the league is going, the NFF and the league body trying to blend with the calendar, which they've achieved, I think it's fine that we get to see how far it goes, starting with the different states. And for River State, all eyes will be to see how the teams pairing the draws will emerge.
Well, let's stay away from draws. Now look at what is around the teams. The Premier League side here in Nigeria, one of the teams that has had issues in the past, but it seems all of that is winding down, is Hadland FC, or Eyimba International of Aba. We've seen they have a change of coach. Stanley Guma is right now in charge. Do you think their fortunes have improved, in spite of the fact that they have had to go 6 games without winning?
For Stanley Guma, I think that I think he has what it takes, but somehow he's understudying the side. Since they are all staff from the champion, from the CAF Confederation Cup, they have not won in the league. Playing 6 times, but it's not all his fault because this man came in, in the middle of the season. He's yet to also, but we saw what he did. Going away to Lobby to get maximum point is a clear statement of intent, and just maybe we expect that will bring them to the level of competing. They are now seated 8, and anything can happen from them. When you look at the point margin between them and those at the top there, you know that Eyimba can always climb back. Eyimba is a team to reckon with. So I just keep my finger crossed. I hope that Eguma will make a laudable statement at the end of the season.
Eguma is expected to show his class. He's one of the oldest coach we've seen in the Premier League here in Nigeria. Very experienced, I must tell you, and so he should be able to turn around the fortune of Eyimba International of Aba. Meanwhile, the Confederation of African Football has said the Nigerian male under-17 side, the Golden Eagles, are yet to qualify for the 2025 under-17 AFCON, expected to be played there in just a few weeks from now. A lot of people think that the Golden Eagles have qualified, but CAF has come out with a statement saying this is not clear as we speak.
It's not clear because they have to. To them, the game they have to do a whole lot. The way the game ended the last time, it's via the Wafu, and all that. We'll get to see how far they go. But for me, these days people don't really talk about the age grades or junior tier, national teams. But with this statement now, NFF have to take it upon themselves to really see, what is wrong and see how far they can remedy it via maybe a playoff and all that.
10 teams have so far qualified. The Golden Eagles didn't qualify, didn't come out from their qualifier group, and so, but 16 teams we understand will take part in this tournament, and somehow the Golden Eagles are looking for a backdoor entrance, having failed through the front door of qualifiers. But Egypt, Morocco, Mali, Senegal, Burkina Faso, Ivory Coast, Tanzania, Uganda, Angola, and Zambia are already through from the qualifier. And the 2025 qualifier for the tournament, which gets underway at the FIFA World Cup level in Qatar, will see, Nigeria maybe come through the back door and see how they can get to the World Cup again. But if you're talking about the under-17 tournament, this is a tournament where Nigeria had dominated worldwide. It won the very first edition, and thereafter became a powerhouse at the under-16, now under-17 level of play. So we hope they can find a way to get back into the tournament and do qualify and make an impact again in the world. No doubt about it. We have the talent, but somehow it didn't get to show in the qualifiers. Now let's look at what's happening on the continent of Africa when it comes to football. We understand Confederation of African Football have announced that the quarter-final draws for both the CAF Champions League and the CAF Confederation Cup will take place in Qatar. April. 8 teams, including the reigning champions Al Ahly of Egypt, have secured their spots in the Champions League quarterfinals. How will these draws be made outside of Africa, Qatar, far away? 8 clubs as well will be taking part in the CAF Confederation Cup draw. What do we expect from these draws?
For the draws, of course, that the big guys, especially not African giants, they have teams well represented in that aspect. While Ali themselves, I mean, perennial winners, you expect that whosoever they are paired, the fight is for for them to lose. And some of the big names are still there. We saw what played out in the group stages, and it's an eye opener because things are gradually revolving. But then, like I said, draws are draws. After the draws tomorrow, we clearly now know the pathway because when the teams are paired, you can not really begin to look at the statistics and the prediction going from the result we saw from the group stages of the Champions League.
Draws for the CAF Champions League and CAF Confederations Cup will take place in Qatar. I think that will be on the 20th of this month, just about a few days from now. And it's something interesting that the man who has been made the draw assistant is former Africa's one of the brightest football player, Mohamed Aboutrika. We hope this player, if you know him in his heydays, you follow up with his, draws duty come the 20th of February. Meanwhile, let's quickly go to Europe now because we're running out of time. Epo, crucial encounter coming up tonight. Arsenal against Newcastle in an FA Cup fixture.
I dreamt that Arsenal overturned that. I don't know how they did it, but I dreamt that Arsenal overturned that game. And maybe because I was thinking about how difficult it would be to play against Newcastle away from home, and then getting. But they build up to a very lovely motivation, getting to win City. But not two games are alike, and so Mikel Arteta will have to do a whole lot to overturn a 2-goal deficit and get to go to the next round. I mean, they haven't won any cup in the last 3 seasons. So for me, I just hope that can be done. But Arsenal deserve something good at this point with the way they're going. They look like a very compact team, and I'm just thinking how Newcastle will break this edge to get something from them. But they have 2-goal advantage going into this encounter. But then I think by final cross, anything can happen. If Arsenal gets play the way they played against City, then everything is likely very possible.
Semi-final fixture of the EFL Cup in England, and is Newcastle playing at home against Arsenal. Arsenal lost the first leg fixture 2-0 at the Emirates. But there's been a major blow for Newcastle ahead of this fixture coming up tonight. Joe Linton had been declared doubtful fixture.
That was one of the men that masterminded, him and Isak masterminded that victory, at the Emirates last month. So Arsenal fans will be happy because the man who tormented the defense may likely be missing in action. But it's not just about that. I think how he knows what to do, to get his hand on this particular. Like I said, we are going to play at St. James Park, and so you have to be at your best to get something from Newcastle.
Meanwhile, the Copa del Rey fixture is into this crucial tie. Leganes seems to be the boogie team of top teams in the La Liga, but now this is a different competition. Copa del Rey. If you're full of Spanish football, there's more followership for Copa del Rey than even the Spanish La Liga.
Yeah, there's more followership because also a
lot of money involved
is also very high. So that they will be well concentrated into this encounter, because if they will get to win this one, it looks like they're going to have another El Clasico finals. If also Barca qualifies.
Quarter-final fixture in the Coppa d'Italia will come up tonight as well, and AC Milan against AS Roma.
Because you don't take anything for granted. So traditionally, like AC Milan, AS Roma, compared to their rivals, who will have to do a whole lot, to get
against another strong side in the competition as well by the Indigens, and I hope it will get better. Quickly, we have to begin to run up the show, but first, transfer season is come and gone. Major movements have been concluded for January until the summer. There will be no more transfer. AC Milan has secured the services of Chelsea forward João Felix. This is a good one for AC Milan, a bad one for Chelsea.
It's a win-win for João Felix. Okay, when you're not having game time, you just have to move, and I think that decision to move is not is well thought out. Playing for AC Milan too might give him that advantage, but then let's see how far it goes. It's a long move, so he has to do his best, but he has a clause that might make the contract. So, but let's see how far, if he will be utilized by Luis Enrique, and then that is up to them too.
Well, Manchester United seem to have